Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this video we're going to talk about adapting to market conditions, not necessarily by persisting in the same symbol or even persisting with the same type of tactic. Let me show you what I mean. So today we were looking at a long position in the S&P, and a big part of what I do as a day trader is understanding day to day what's the directional bias? What is the side of the market that I will favor due to a number of levels we might be above or below? So we've persisted with a long-only bias now for quite some time. So that's not going to change when I start looking at the intraday charts. I'm just going to be looking for that long setup. All right, so that's not that unusual. That's something we've talked a lot about in these videos. However, full disclosure, I wanted to play a long S&P. And ultimately what I ended up getting was an entry long that did not bounce for much more than about 5.5, 6 points until we plummeted down to new lows. And new lows that were enough to stop me out of my previous trade. So I knew there was a trade to be had on the S&P. But what I had, and the term that I like to use, is an elastic level. Right? And I'll kind of look at it as a trampoline, right? Because I'll expect it to move higher, but I just don't know how much that trampoline is going to give, right? It's an elastic level. There's a lot of elasticity to it. So rather than step in with the S&P again after the clearing, which is my preferred time for less aggressive entries, we went with the SPY call. And I would love for more traders to be more fluid with options on the ETF alternatives. So we wanted the SPY calls. So what did that do? That allowed us to pick up relatively inexpensive August 21 expiring calls for a day trade. However, I wasn't sure how much lower low was. And this is where we can use a different kind of stop, percentage base of value of the option, the premium value, versus a hard price-based stop. Now I'm using a little bit more flexible, a percentage-based stop. I know what my dollar amount loss is. Believe me, we're not getting, we're not fooling ourselves. We know whatever our dollar amount is, $100, $200. We know what the dollar amount is, but we're using a percentage of the premium to give us, again, a little bit more play, a little bit more wiggle, as it's often called. All right, so we go with that SPY call, which, by the way, ended up being a very nice 33.90 exit. That was the initial plan. We also kept in mind a 33.88, 33.89 exit. So this was the SPY call. Very nice trade for us by using a type of, in this case, a type of vehicle that would allow me the flexibility and then allow me to profit from the move higher while limiting risk. And this is where a lot of futures traders would do well to think a little outside the box. Well, another thing we did was Microsoft. So Microsoft was looking like it set up a very similar type of trade, and it did. It actually did not give us any fits at all. It was a nice trade, and we were able to pick up these Microsoft calls for a very similar type of follow-through. In other words, we were looking for Microsoft to move in sympathy with not only the NASDAQ and the S&P. So that yellow line, by the way, represents when we sent out the alert. And then about 7 minutes later, and then again another 4 minutes after that, we ended up with our opportunity to get long the MSFT calls, August 21 at the money. And again, a very, very nice climb up. These are day trades. These are relatively low risk day trades that are, and here's the important part, they are related to the types of futures trading that I like to do. It's just that I didn't feel I had an edge on the futures side, but I knew there was a narrative to the long side that I could capitalize on. So I would love for you to think a little outside the box as a day trader, focusing still on those first 2 hours of the day, but what's going to be related to a narrative like the S&P and the NASDAQ that I want to take advantage of, but the S&P and NASDAQ may not be cooperating for the kind of setups that I want. Enter SPY calls and Microsoft calls. And that brings me to what I'll be talking about this Thursday, August 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. sorry, 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And what we're going to be doing for about 45 minutes is I'm going to be outlining, I'm going to be walking you through a number of the trades that I made in July. I'm going to take you through the types of trades, the types of patterns, the types of tools, the approach with which I used to this 2-hour approach to day trade July. And, clearly to some really, really nice gains. The goal was to see if I could 10x the account. That was the challenge. And by the way, I'm undergoing the same challenge right now. I'm trying to do something similar with my August trading. Can I take a certain amount of money? And once again, and I'm really emphasizing more on some of the options trades. I'm focusing on things like these SPY and Microsoft. So, different challenges that I'm doing. We did one in July, we're doing one in August, and I'm going to actually do both in September after we do our class, which, by the way, we're going to be doing a class on this on August 29th. But if you want a better idea of what it is that I'm going to be teaching you guys on the 29th of August, check out my webinar this Thursday. Sign up, see what you think, see if it's something that suits you. Again, the idea is, can you use the edge that the morning action gives you to set up your trades, have the choice to look at the market around 11:30 and determine whether or not this is the kind of market you want to continue to commit to, because there might be a longer, large-term, long-range day, right? Longer-term, larger move, or it's the kind of day where you want to shut it off as we approach the midday doldrums. But really focusing on those first 2 hours of the day to put on your trades and have the choice, it is a choice, to be done. And that's what I've always sought in my career. This idea that longer hours of trading is the way that you grow an account, I think is categorically false. And I'm going to show you what I did. It's not just about only trading 2 hours, it's about trading the best 2 hours of the day for the best results. Come check it out, August 20th, 7 p.m., and I'll see you in the next update.